Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Cooking with Chef Aaron. Today, we are going to be setting foot in South America as we explore the country of Colombia. Now, this country was kindly requested to me by none other than Melissa Franco Escudero. As always, thank you so much, Melissa, for your request. And as always, I hope to receive more requests from other people and subscribers sometime soon. So anyway, let's get into it. What do I think of Colombia? Well, I did provide a little bit of an assessment of countries that are located between both Mexico and Brazil. If you remember from my Costa Rica episode, I did have a little bit of a cheeseburger metaphor, I called it, where the top bun represented Mexico, the bottom bun represented Brazil. I said that countries that lie close to Mexico I like more because they have a more desert-like climate. I really like the desert scenery of Mexico. I think it looks very cool with all the cactuses and all the sunlight and the vegetation of the forests are all sunny. The rainforests that are closer to Mexico are more sunny. I really like the atmosphere of those countries. And then I said for Brazil, I didn't really like those countries quite as much. Countries that are close to Brazil, border Brazil, I didn't really like those countries quite as much because they're a lot more muddy. They kind of have like a more muddy vibe to them. They're not as aesthetically appealing like the landscapes. I said that about countries that lie close to Brazil. And I said that Brazil was kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum as Mexico was because Mexico was nice and hot. The climate of Mexico was nice and hot, whereas Brazil, it was the reverse opposite. It was all wet and muddy. Didn't really look quite as appealing. But funny enough, Colombia, despite being a country that borders Brazil, this country is actually a little bit of an exception because I did provide a little bit of an assessment of Venezuela, Guyana, and Suriname in my Costa Rica episode, and I said that the closer the countries are to Brazil, they're not as aesthetically appealing, but Colombia is an exception. I'm going to tell you why in a moment, okay? So let's start the review off by talking about the largest city of Colombia, which is called Bogota. And as you can see here, the buildings are all nice and colorful, and they use lots of nice rainbow colors. I really think it looks good the way it is. It's very colorful. I really think it's a nice city to explore. And as you can see, the palm trees are really exotic. They're a lot more exotic than what you would find in Guyana or Venezuela, funny enough, even though they're close in proximity to Colombia. And yes, it's just really nice. Now granted, of course, like all countries that border Brazil, Colombia still is a tad bit muddy in some areas, but this country, funny enough, is actually quite exotic and it's quite nice. So I'm going to continue my review now. And we're going to look at the second largest city of Colombia, which is called Medellin. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And Medellin is quite nice as well, not really futuristic, but it does have some nice colors, as you can see by looking at these buildings right here. They're really nice. They're really nice and colorful. They're nice rainbow colors. And also there's a cathedral here that looks really nice as well. I think it's very artistic in design. Shaped very well to look like a European cathedral. It has a little bit of European influence. I really like it a lot. And yes, finally I'm going to talk about the third largest city of Colombia, which is called Cali. And as you can see here, it's not really quite as intriguing as the other two cities. It's not really quite as colorful. The architecture is more sort of on the bland side. But nevertheless, it's still not too shabby of a city, and I really think it looks good the way it does. And to wrap up this review, I'm going to talk about the landscapes of Colombia now. And as you can see some nice sort of like rivers, sort of like semi-waterfalls right here. And they look really exotic because you can sort of see some purple in here. I don't know quite what the purple is called in here, whether that's supposed to be a plant or if that's supposed to be part of the rock. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like some sort of like special plant going on the rock they have in Latin America. But if you do know, please let me know in the comments what the purple is. But yeah, as you can see here, it still is a little bit wet and muddy, but it's more exotic. The landscapes of Colombia, the rainforests, the rivers, the ponds, all that stuff. It looks really good the way it is. And overall, I think I would probably have to give the country of Colombia a B+. Okay, so with my review out of the way, let's head down to my kitchen. And today I'm going to be making a chicken stew dish known as Sudado De Pollo Guisado. And I'm really looking forward to making this recipe because it uses a special Latin American spice mix along with some other vegetables such as onions, potatoes, and red bell peppers. And I think it'll taste great. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll see you all in my kitchen. Okay, so in order to make the Sudado De Pollo Guisado, the ingredients you will need are as follows. We have on this plate right here 10 chicken drumsticks, and over here we have, where my hands are, we have half of a white onion chopped, and in this little container we have half of a red bell pepper chopped, and over here in this big container over here we have 3 tomatoes that have been chopped, and over here in this container we have 2 potatoes which have been cut into medium-ish, smallish pieces. And we also have in this measuring cup 2 cups of chicken broth. And we also have 3 teaspoons of garlic cloves right here. We also have some salt and pepper to taste. And we also have a 1/4 cup of cilantro flakes in this container right here. And we also have some extra cilantro for a garnish, that's for later. And you will also need one of these seasoning mix packets. It's called Sazon Goya. It's basically a very popular Latin American spice mix. It goes well with tacos and other dishes, and we're going to be using this product for this recipe. Without further ado, let's get started on this recipe. Oh, and let's not forget, we need some cooking oil as well. So let's get started. Alright, so the first step we're going to do in this recipe is we're going to open up both the salt and the pepper containers respectively. So I'm just going to do that right now. And you are going to start with one hand, you're going to grab some salt and season the drumsticks all around with salt. Just doing this. Make sure they all get an even amount of salt respectively. And using the same hand, we will garnish with pepper as well. Look at that, doesn't that look beautiful? Okay, so now that these are all nicely seasoned, what we're going to do now is using our other hand, we're going to flip these over. And switching back to the left hand, just so we don't contaminate the salt and pepper, we're going to grab some salt again, and we're going to season the other side. So just like this. And once again, we do the same thing with the pepper. Just spread it evenly all around the chicken drumsticks. Each one gets a good coating of both salt and pepper respectively. Okay, and now that the drumsticks are all nicely seasoned, I will see you on the next step. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to grab some oil, and we're just going to pour a little bit in the pot all around. And using tongs, we will spread this all out. And we are now going to grab the drumsticks and transfer them to the pot. And then the next step is to turn on our stove at high heat. And we are just going to let these brown on both sides, and I'll see you then. Alright, so once you've browned your chicken drumsticks, they should look something like this. Now granted, they don't necessarily have to be perfect because you'll be putting these back in the pot along with your other ingredients, and that's going to be for later in this demonstration. So now without further ado, we are going to move on to the next steps, and I'll see you then. Alright, so after your chicken drumsticks have been taken out and put aside, the next thing you're going to do in this recipe is you're going to add more oil to your pot. And to this, we are going to add the onions, as well as our red bell peppers. And we are just going to let these cook for 5 minutes, and I'll see you then. Okay, so once we've sauteed our onions and red bell peppers for a while, the next step we're going to do is we're going to add this garlic, and we're going to mix it and stir constantly. Just doing this for a minute. And I will see you all then. Okay, and right after you've mixed your garlic for a minute, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your tomatoes and you're going to add them all to the mixture just like this. And you're just going to blend them all in. And I will see you all in the next step. Okay, and once you've nestled your tomatoes in with the red peppers and onions, your next step is to take the chicken from earlier and just transfer it back to the pot on top of the tomatoes. And I will see you all then. Alright, and once you've nestled your chicken into the tomatoes successfully, the next step is you're going to grab your potatoes and add them all to the stew as well. Then you're just going to season this with salt all around. Alright, so the next step in your recipe is you're going to take your chicken broth, and you're also going to take your Sazon Goya seasoning, and what you're going to do is you're going to open this up, and you're just going to transfer it all to here. And you're just going to grab a spoon and mix it all in together. Oh yeah, and I can smell it. It smells very nice. Okay, and once your chicken stock has transformed color after adding the Sazon Goya seasoning, I will see you all in the next step. Okay, so the next step is you're going to take your chicken stock mixture and Sazon Goya seasoning mix from earlier, and you're just going to add it all to the pot just like this. And you are also going to add your cilantro and sprinkle it all around. And you are just going to let this cook for 25 to 30 minutes. And you want to make sure your pot is covered. And I will see you all then. Okay, and our Sudado De Pollo Guisado is pretty much almost done. The only thing that's left to do now is to just add a little bit more cilantro as a garnish, and I'm going to do that right now. Okay, and I'm going to plate this on my placemat, and I'm going to do a taste test, and I'll let you know what I think of it. Okay, so let's see what I think of this now. I'm going to taste each part of the recipe individually. So first up, let's try the broth. Broth along with a little bit of veggies. So I've got my spoonful right here. I've got a little bit of potato and tomato and red bell pepper and onion. Let's see how it tastes all together. It's quite tasty. The vegetables are all nice and soft. They all blend well together. It really does taste like a nice South American dish. Let me sample the broth again. Yep, quite something. That time I tasted a little bit of the cilantro. So now I'm going to taste the chicken. That's the most important part of the recipe. Alright, got my chicken right here. Let's see what I think of it. It's very good. It does help that there's a little bit of skin on the chicken. It adds more flavor to it. This is phenomenal. Okay, and now I'm going to try a little bit of rice and sample it with the broth. Let's try this. This is quite nice. I really like this a lot. And now I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like on my plate. Alright, and this is the finished product served on my placemat. And as you can see, I've served the Sudado De Pollo Guisado with a bed of rice on the side. And I also have a can of orange crush for my drink. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in my next episode.